Welcome to No Facts Needed, and today we're going to be talking about the New York Giants and how they're not very good. Let's jump right into it. Let's give our record predictions. We both have them at 2-14. Vegas has them at a solid 6.5.
Really?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Last year they went 4-12, so we're predicting a couple losses drop off.
They're probably not going to be actually this bad, but just wanted to drive the point in there that I have no faith in them.
Let's talk about their schedule. I think as a team, they're not actually that bad what the record shows, but their schedule's super hard. So they play the NFC West with the Cards, Niners, Rams, and Hawks, and also the NFC North with the Steelers, Ravens, and Browns.
So that's like 8 losses right there.
Yeah, straight up. And then they also play the Bucks. And they're on the wrong side of their division. They have the Cowboys and Eagles. They're going to both be hard teams to play.
Yeah.
So overall, it's a really hard schedule.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be hard for them to squeak out any wins at all.
Yeah, well, that happens sometimes when you suck.
Let's talk about how they got there. Let's talk about their offseason moves. So let's talk about their draft.
Okay.
Andrew Thomas, Xavier McKinney, 6'7", offensive tackle Matt Pert. I think they did pretty good there.
Yeah, I actually don't hate that.
Yeah, Xavier McKinney probably was going to – he was going to be a first-round pick. Probably could have been, but they got a steal in the second. And then they got 2 tackles. They really need that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about who they got through the offseason. They got James Bradberry, Blake Martinez, Cameron Fleming, and Dion Lewis. Those are some of the highlights. James Bradberry and Blake Martinez, I thought those were good signings. Kind of expensive.
I don't think Blake Martinez is good.
Well, Blake Martinez is one of those guys that just gets a lot of tackles, and I agree with you. He's not that good, but for a tackler, he's good,
I don't think he's going to make it to the end of this deal. Spoiler.
So he got 3-year, $30 million, and Bradberry got 3-year, $45 million. They lost Manning, Mike Remmers, Cody Latimer, Alex Ogletree, and Deion Buchanan.
Ogletree's the only one who even really played significantly last year.
Yeah.
So
what are your thoughts on this offseason? Do you think it was good, bad, solid?
I feel like it's not that bad, but it's also not that good. So you're kind of just the same place you were last year.
Mm-hmm. At
least they're getting linemen though.
Let's move on to our coaches. This might be the worst coaching staff in the league. It's really bad. Joe Judge was a special teamers and a wide receiver coach for the Patriots, and guess what? The Patriots wide receivers aren't even that good. They have Edelman, but he's just short white guy that Tom Brady likes to throw to. Probably kisses him on the side too. And then for offensive coordinator, they have Jason Garrett, who
we don't even need to talk why that's bad.
Their defensive coordinator, Patrick Graham, he was the defensive coordinator for the Dolphins last year. Dolphins weren't good last year, and they had Brian Flores.
Yeah.
And Brian Flores kind of controlled that defense anyways. Nothing really special with his coaching staff. I think they're pretty bad.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to help any of the players here. Let's talk about the players on the field.
Boom, boom, boom.
Quarterback, Daniel Jones. I will say, I think he gets a lot of hate. I think he's better than what people say he is, even though he's still not that good. Last year, he had 62% completion, 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. Also, do you want to say this? 18 fumbles.
Yeah, that's in my notes too.
That is real bad.
Only 11 got recovered, but yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. I think his ceiling right now, he was a rookie last year, but his ceiling is game manager. Nothing too special. He can move around in the pocket.
He kind of reminds me of Alex Smith.
Yeah. Kind of sneaky fast, I guess, but just runs in a straight line.
Somewhat athletic.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good at throwing.
So do you think he's going to improve this year or get worse? What do you think about him?
Well, I feel like as long as their O-line doesn't get worse, he should get better.
Let's talk about their star player, Saquon Barkley. Definitely hands down best player on this team right now. Top 3 running back in the league. Best home run ability in the league right now. And really does it all.
Yeah. He's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know if there's much you have to say about Saquon.
No, I do want to highlight he's he's really good at catching the ball. Not all running backs are, but he is. He can do it. And he's just a walking highlight reel. Let's go on to the wide receivers. Ooh, how about you talk about them?
They're fine. They don't have a lot of upside. They got Golden Tate and Sterling Shepard. Tate, pretty good slot receiver. Shep, also good in the slot, but solid on the outside as a number 2. And then I guess their number 1 is Darius Slayton, if you really have to pick one, who was actually pretty good last year. There's more optimism than there was last year, so I'll give him that. He actually looked pretty good, showed a couple of things. And then other than that, though, it's not much.
I think it's really funny that their 2 best guys, I would say, which would be Shep and Tate, are both slot guys. And there's a lot of injury concerns with all these guys.
Yeah, there is a high floor, so I'll give them that. They're definitely not the worst receiving core in the league.
We talk about Evan Ingram, tight end. Probably the best receiver on the team. He's pretty good at everything, but he has a huge injury concern.
Yeah.
You know? I think this year is going to be a big year for him because if he can't stay healthy, I don't know how long the Giants are going to want to hold on to him, you know?
Yeah, he's basically like just another slot receiver, even though he's pretty big. He doesn't do a lot of blocking, but it's okay. That's a bright spot for sure. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
Other than that, they've got a bunch of guys who are probably just going to come in and block Caden Smith and Toy Lolo. So
let's talk about their O-line. I'll say the bad, but not as bad as people think. I guess you could say. I mean, they have Nate Soldier, who actually had a league high pressures with 56. He was real bad. They have Kevin Zeitler. He's a hog up front. He's really good.
Yeah.
Will Hernandez, 2nd round pick. For a rookie, he did all right. Wasn't as what people were saying he was, but he was all right, I guess. I think the 2 guards are pretty good, you know. And then they got Andrew Thomas, who's number 4 overall pick in the draft. So if Nate Soldier can come back to what he was like 3 or 4 years ago, they'd have a pretty solid O-line. Their center is a pretty big hole, and I don't really know who's going to fit in there. But other than that, you know.
Yeah. I think with this season, you hope that I think you probably play Soldier and Andrew Thomas together. And then hope that Pert kind of develops underneath Soldier.
Yeah.
So that in a year's time or 2, he can be on his way out because, you know, who would have guessed he's actually not that good. You signed him to all that money and he wasn't that good.
Yeah.
Shocker there. You know, they could do worse. Yeah. Definitely not the worst O-line in the league anymore.
Let's move to defense. This is actually a real sad team. A sad defensive core, you know.
Yeah.
Let's talk about their D-line. They got Dexter Lawrence, they got Dalvin Tomlinson, and they got Leonard Williams. Oh, and also Marcus Golden. He's more of a linebacker, but he rushes. He's a pass rusher, so I threw him in the D-line. You know, you want to talk about them?
Yeah, I mean, this is Dave Gettleman's love child right here. This is what he loves. Big boys, stop the run. He wants to run the ball, and he wants to stop the other team from running it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's clearly they've invested a lot in that position. And so their run defense should be stellar.
Should be,
for whatever that's worth,
yeah.
Which is, spoiler, not a lot in 2020, but it is what it is. Leonard Williams never really lived up to the hype coming out of USC, but he's not bad. He's a starting caliber player. Is he worth the tag that they just gave him? No, but he's solid. Dalvin Tomlinson is good to rotate in and out. Dexter Lawrence had a pretty good rookie year, all things considered, so... Yeah. Looks like a player there as well. And then they've got BJ Hill. They've got a lot of bodies here, so that's definitely not the issue. It's just it's confusing why they invest so much in this position and ignore so many others, because you know this hasn't been their weakness for a while now, but
they don't really have any pass rushers, honestly. Yeah. I mean, Leonard Williams might be one of their best defensive or like D-line players, but he only got half a sack last year. Marcus Golden's probably their best pass rusher. Yeah. He had 10. That was pretty good. But
that's probably a anomaly.
Yeah, I think that's the ceiling at most.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's definitely not a number 1 guy. So, yeah, let's talk about linebackers.
All right. I'm going to say it again. Blake Martinez, don't think he's good. Just throw that out there. Controversial maybe, but he's on the books for $30 million over the next 3 years now. David Mayo has been solid, but probably not a starter ideally. They got Carter Coughlin, who actually might have something there, and then they got Tay Crowder from Georgia, who actually had some hype when he was coming out of high school. Never really lived up to it in college, but
let's move on to the DBs.
Yeah.
So we got Peppers and McKinney, Jabril Peppers and Xavier McKinney. Peppers has been pretty solid throughout his career, more of another linebacker.
Yeah.
And McKinney is a pretty talented rookie that should be good over the top with that free safety. I think they fit well together, and then everybody else is just a big pile of dog doo-doo, They're number one guys. I mean, James Bradberry, you want him more of a second guy.
For sure.
Definitely, at most, low-end number one guy.
Yeah.
They have DeAndre Baker, which I have no idea.
Do they, though?
I don't know what's going to happen. And then beyond that, are just nobodies, honestly. So,
yeah.
So their safety position is good, but their corners are going to get burned a lot. I don't think James Bradberry is going to like this system a lot. I think he's going to fall down if he's going to have to keep covering the number one guy.
One player that I will say to watch is Julian Love.
Mm-hmm.
Played safety last year, but he's probably going to play slot corner for them this year.
Yeah.
I actually like him from Notre Dame. They need a true game changer in the secondary for this to be a very formidable group.
So let's talk about where they are right now. They are definitely in a rebuild. That's no question. Everybody knows that. I don't think this is going to be good. If we rewatch this in the last 3 years, I have a feeling either the head coaches are going to be gone or this is still going to be a bad team and they're going to probably waste Saquon Barkley's talent,
Yeah.
Or Saquon's going to leave,
Or they'll trade him.
They could trade him like Odell,
Yeah.
Usually when they have a good player, they trade him. So let's talk about some pros. Let's talk about what's good about this team.
Yeah. I put they have to look something they have to look forward to is actually having blockers for Daniel Jones and Saquon.
Yeah.
I feel like this team it's kind of been a repeat for the last 2 years since they got Saquon, where battling between oh, that was an exciting game, and this team sucks again for the fourth week in a row.
Let's talk about their cons. They're probably going to be the Panthers last year. Not a very good defense with one guy doing everything on offense. Mm-hmm. And like I said before, the coaches really scare me. I don't think they're good coaches.
Yeah. They have a lot of important holes to fill in the defense. Like we said, they need a number one corner. They need at least one linebacker who can play pass coverage.
And one
we'll see if they have any on the roster now, but
and somebody that can rush the passer.
Yeah, and then they need edge rushers.
Also, I think we've been giving their O-line a lot of credit for what they haven't done yet. Their O-line could still be bad. I mean, last year they had Zeitler, they had Nate Soldier, they had Hernandez, and they still weren't that good,
Yeah. The theme is their floor is low,
mm-hmm.
but so is their ceiling.
Yeah.
I don't see this team might not lose 14 games, but I don't think there's a chance at all that this team wins 7+ games.
Yeah. All right, well, this has been No Facts Needed. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, and let us know your record prediction, what you think of the Giants, if they're actually going to be as bad as we say they are.
I hope somebody says 0-16.
I hope somebody says 16-0, and then they have a argument that is 2 weeks long.